Well, thanks for tuning into this broadcast. It's as much a conversation with Amber Enterprises about their good show in adverse times, as much as it is about trying to figure out what could happen to the back-end manufacturing in India, especially in the electronic space, considering a number of factors are working for that pocket. India apparently, or we as a country, apparently the government has launched a 6.5 to 7 billion plan to boost electronics manufacturing. Quantum of electronics manufactured in India versus imported is now at parity, as per what Merrill Lynch told us as well. So there's lots that's happening within that space. Let's get in Mr. Jasbir Singh of Amber Enterprises to talk about all of this. First, start off with a brief conversation about the quarter and then move on to the larger picture. Mr. Singh, good having you. Thanks for joining in. It is tough times, I'm guessing, and that's why the quarter wasn't as up to the marks as people would have anticipated. How would you sum up the quarter gone by? How is quarter one shaping up? And what's your thoughts for the rest of the year?
So as far as the last quarter goes, as we all know that last about 10 days or maybe 12 to 13 days were a complete washout because of the lockdown. We lost about 160-70 crore worth of a sale as far as that, giving the run rate which we were going in the end of March. So, but still, we've done about 7% plus revenue growth in that quarter. And on the consolidated basis, we've delivered a very strong numbers. We've done 43% growth on our revenue and about 73% on our PAT levels. So which is a very strong growth. So on a consolidated year has been good for us. As far as quarter one is concerned, we all know that we are in the and season. It was a peak when the lockdown happened. So March to June is one of the peak season category for us. So April and May has been a washout, but in the mid of May, the showrooms on the air conditioners and installation was allowed by government in the green zone areas. And green zones are largely in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And surprisingly, AC has come back very strongly. About 4.5 lakh air conditioners have been sold in just 12, 13 days. So if this trend continues, I think we are witnessing a V type of recovery in air conditioners segment, because I think it's a more of essential product today, which is linked with a comfort lifestyle product. And that is where on the mobility cycle, where we produce air conditioners for railways and this, only the April was washout.
I just think we lost that feed. We'll just try and reconnect that feed as well. But I'll tell you, viewers, a couple of things that I think Amber Enterprises said in the con call as well. The company had said that the company does not see any disruptions on both the availability of raw materials and labor, because 80% of its own workforce is local and situated near the facilities. So for Amber Enterprises, at least in particular, the migrant labor issue may not be a problem. So if indeed demand comes back, as the management is saying, they have seen signs of already, they might actually be able to do okay. Now, this company, remember, has a 22% market share in the room AC manufacturing and 55% share in the ODM outsource industry. The question, I think, to Mr. Singh over the course of this interview would be whether they believe that via consolidation and size, they can actually garner more market share, and could the market size itself grow higher? And that is arguably one of the key questions, really, because we're seeing this really large advent of back-end manufacturing in the country, isn't it? There is Dixon Technologies, there is Amber Enterprises in the electronic space, and probably more that we don't know about as well. There is Hindustan Foods in the back-end foods manufacturing space, and a bunch of others which are doing this. Is expand. We try and get Mr. Singh in just moments from now. I think bad connectivity. Don't quite blame anybody, but I think the connectivity issues out there, which is not really enough to quite continue with this. In the meantime, just viewers, remember a couple of things that I would urge you to do. If we can get Mr. Singh in a minute from now, then we'll try and do that. But a couple of things I would urge you to do. We did a very nice interaction with Bank of America Securities, BofA Securities, their head of equity strategy, Amish Shah, who spoke about how he thought that the move out of China into India this time around might be actually very, very real, simply because it's not just the pull factors, but the push factors as well. It's not just what India alone can do to offer companies on their own. Companies want to diversify their supply chains out of China into Southeast Asian countries, and India stands out as well. BofA did a survey, I think, in March or February before COVID, and they learned that 3,000 of their customers were saying, even before COVID, that they want to move out of China into Mexico, Indonesia, Vietnam, and India, and this might actually accelerate. Sorry, Mr. Singh, we'll first talking about Amber and then we'll move on to the other factors. You were saying about how the year ahead looks like.
Yeah, so I think it's too early stage to comment on that. To be honest, so we have three sectors. So as far as the mobility air conditioners are concerned, where we produce air conditioners for railways and metros and buses, that is looking positive because there are more railway contracts coming in and more metro spending is happening. As far as our component sector is concerned, we are seeing attraction from COVID-19 situation, China plus one strategy panning out to be. So we've already started exporting our components to US and to Middle East levels. So that is one part. And on the room air conditioner side, as I was explaining, that it was a mid-peak season when the lockdown happened. So it's too early to comment. But looking into the May sales, I think we should be seeing a V kind of recovery. But on a consolidated number kind of a thing for a whole year, it's too early stage to comment on that.
Okay. Would you be optimistic, Mr. Singh, or would you believe that uh, there is a higher probability of things not returning to scale? I mean, and not your labor issues notwithstanding, because I think 80% of your labor is local. But otherwise, I mean, some, bank facilities or just the low demand and how it might shape up. Because this backup, this demand that you spoke about might be pent up demand, right? It may not actually be factoring in what customers are feeling for the medium term.
So you see, I think my personal view is that we all are living in the realm of speculation as far as post-COVID situation is
Got
concerned.
it.
There are so
Yeah.
many theories about V-type recovery, U-type recovery, W or maybe Nike switch type of recovery. But we will see how it comes. So, but yes, on the balance sheet side, we are a strong company. We have a adequate amount of working capital with us. We don't see any problem there. On the capex side, we want to focus ourselves on R&D. We have strengthened R&D in this kind of time, and we are bringing in new models because we are anticipating that a lot of import people will shift to us because of this COVID-19 situations. They have not had a good experience as far as their inventories were concerned. But companies who were buying from India have definitely inventory. So, and in the 12 sectors, which has been defined as a key sectors by government for a forward push, where reforms will be seen, AC is one of them. So I think looking into that, today 30% of air conditioners are being imported. So if government with through the policy interventions is able to even bring 50% down, that's also a huge opportunity for companies like us. So we'll see how the situation will pan out. But I am very optimistic on the long-term consumption potential of the country. Nothing changes there.
Okay.
We've had already two countries who have come out of the COVID-19 situation without a vaccine.
Sure.
So China is out of that, South Korea is out of that.
Yeah, no, agreed. I mean, I'm just saying, but I take on board.
Potential. So that is where we are focusing on.
Okay, but I take on board your point that all of this might be in the realms of speculation. So therefore, let's try and maybe speculate, if you will, in areas which are probably better to do. Um, do we? What about your own experience? Would you believe that this whole advent of higher or heightened back-end manufacturing within the country might give you access to more products as well, or would you believe that, as things stand, any of your expansion plans would continue in the products where you are continuing right now?
Yeah, so see, there are two ways to look at it. One is there were companies which were importing, so they are now definitely talking to us on a very serious note. On the also that is happening. On the other side, is also gaining traction within the domestic manufacturing. If you see in India, only about 30 to 35% of value addition is happening in air conditioners. Compressors are imported, motors are imported, and copper tubing and aluminum are imported. Almost about 55% of bill of material of India. So now, there is a big shift towards even thought process of the companies to make in India. And with that, we have a very strong component ecosystem built in because our 40% revenue comes from component and 60% is room air conditioners. So we are well placed. We are bringing in more components and we are also bringing in more products which were not available with us right now. So we don't want anybody to go to China, Thailand to bring in. We are here to serve you as a consolidated, integrated solution provider.
Okay. Now, are you talking about products other than air conditioners, or are you talking about different varieties of air conditioners?
I'm talking of three things here. One is different variety of air conditioners.
Mm-hmm.
Second is different type of components which are used in the air conditioners. So
Okay. And
as Amber supplying compressors as well as possibility in both the segment.
okay. Um, Sorry, Mr. Singh, I missed the third point. The line is a bit patchy. Maybe we should try and redo this at some other time as well. But let me just give it one more shot. You were talking
Sure.
about three things. One is
Yeah.
more components. Two is different kind of ACs. What was the third thing that you said?
Third was a different type of conditioners, like cassette air conditioners, the ceiling mounted air conditioners that was not in our product basket. Now we are developing those. Not many companies were getting from China or Thailand, so we are making that product available for them from India. So those kind
Okay.
of things we are doing.
Okay. The other thing is, are more brands talking to you as well? I mean, one is the expansion of product portfolio. Two would be the expansion of customer portfolio. Is that happening?
Yeah, that's also happening. So we are seeing a lot of brands who are largely importing have started talking to us, and they are talking on a very serious note for next season.
Okay. I have one more question, Mr. Singh. Because you have the core expertise of manufacturing, would there be a probability of global brands which may not have existing operations here looking to shift and talking to players like you? Would that be a possibility at all, or you don't think so?
No, we are thinking, I mean, we are seeing that possibility, but right now it's too early stage because the conversations have just started. So larger players like US market companies, big brands, they were buying largely from China, and now they have started shifting to us. But this is one product where you have to undergo a lot of reliability cycles before you launch a product in the market. So right now the conversations have started. One of the companies have given us a prototype order because of split air. They have different kind of air conditioners used in those kind of markets. So we have started producing that, and on a long run basis, yes, from 2 or 3 years from now, I definitely see that big companies who are buying from US or from Mexico market shifting to us.
Okay. One last question, Mr. Singh, and that is on. I know you have a strong balance sheet, but if indeed some of these conversations uh, become a reality, or just heighten local manufacturing comes in to expand your capacities, would you need to raise any kind of capital, or would you believe internal accruals, etc., would do it?
So we are right now, as far as situation is concerned, we have adequate financial limit without having any large balance sheet. We have some debts in case a big opportunity comes in. But otherwise, I think in case there is a need to raise capital, we'll raise it at a later point. But right now, I don't think so. In a short term, we need that.
Okay. I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking to us, and all the best for the times ahead. Appreciate your time.